Picture a world where the very concept of husband doesn't exist. A world where the home belongs to the woman and men come only at night by her choice. Where intimacy isn't a prelude to marriage, but a separate, personal act that requires no one's approval or judgment. This isn't fantasy. This is the reality of the Moso people living by the picturesque Lugu Lake in southwestern China. Here it is, evening by Lugu Lake. Wooden houses with tiled roofs are bathed in the soft light of the setting sun. In one of these homes, a woman, the head of the household, sits by the hearth. She doesn't need to cook dinner for a husband. She doesn't have one. She doesn't need to ask permission. She makes her own decisions. Tonight, she might receive a guest, a man she has chosen. He'll come quietly, after everyone has fallen asleep, knock on the door of her private room, the flower house, and spend the night with her. And at dawn, before the sun touches the mountaintops, he'll slip away just as quietly, back to his mother's house. This isn't random. This is a way of life known as walking marriage, the foundation of intimate relations among the Mosul people. And it's just one manifestation of their completely different world, a world built around women, where there's no place for the patriarchy and institution of marriage we know. In our culture, family is usually a union between a man and woman, where the man traditionally plays the role of head of household or at minimum an equal partner, the breadwinner who carries the family name. We build relations on concepts of marriage, fidelity, shared living, fatherhood as obligation. For us, intimacy often leads to marriage, and marriage leads to a shared home and children who take the father's last name. Here, everything's different. The woman is the center of the universe. She owns property, inherits the house and land, makes all the key family decisions. The man in her life is a guest she's chosen, but not part of her household in any permanent sense. He has no say in her family, doesn't control her life. This isn't just casual dating. This is a fundamentally different social structure where the female line dominates. Imagine the level of freedom this gives a woman. She doesn't depend on a man economically or socially. She doesn't need a husband for status. She doesn't need his permission for anything. She can invite a man because she finds him attractive, because she wants intimacy, because he's strong and healthy. And she can stop calling him if her choice changes or if things don't work out. No one, not her mother, not her brothers, not society, will judge her for it. Her choice in matters of intimate life is her personal business. At Lugu Lake, they don't ask, "Are you married?" Here they ask, "Is your house in order?" Men in this system also have their place, but it's completely different from what we're used to. He's not the provider for his wife and children. He's the provider for his mother's and sister's household. His loyalty, his work, his earnings, all of this goes toward maintaining and helping prosper the big house where he was born and lives under his mother's or eldest sister's leadership. When he goes at night to a woman at her invitation, he leaves all his obligations at the entrance to her flower house. In her room, he's simply a man, and she's the woman who chose him. There are no husband or wife roles there. This absence of concepts of ownership and possession in relationships leads to another striking feature of Moso society, the virtual absence of jealousy in the destructive sense we know. Since a man doesn't consider a woman his property and doesn't live with her permanently, he has no reason for jealousy. Women don't get jealous of their partners because their worth and security don't depend on one specific man,
but are based on their place in their maternal home. If a man she's been with starts visiting another woman, it doesn't become a tragedy or cause for drama. It's just life. Their connection was a personal, temporary arrangement that can end as quietly as it began. In the Moso world, a woman's freedom doesn't mean chaos, it means foundation. The center of this entire unique system is, of course, the house, the dafan. This isn't just a building, it's a living entity, a symbol of the clan, a fortress uniting several generations through the maternal line.
Here, under one roof, live the matriarch grandmother, her daughters, sisters, brothers, nieces, nephews, everyone connected by blood through women. The matriarch, usually the eldest and wisest woman, manages everything, from distributing food to settling disputes. The men in the house are brothers and uncles. They work for the good of the entire household, help their sisters, maintain order. So when a Moso man leaves his mother's house at night to go to his chosen woman in another house, he always returns at dawn to his native dafan. This is his base, his family, his main responsibility. His connection with the woman he visits is one thing, but his life and obligations in his maternal home are something completely different. This structure, where the lineage continues through women and men are part of their mother's household, creates incredible stability. There are no divorces because there are no marriages. There are no inheritance disputes between different families because everything passes through one line, the female line. Houses stand for centuries, just like their way of life. This way of life, where intimacy doesn't lead to marital obligations and men don't own women, underlies their amazing immunity to one of the most destructive human emotions, jealousy. In our world, jealousy often stems from fear of losing property, emotional, physical, social. We're afraid someone will take what's ours. The Mosuo don't have the concept of mine when it comes to intimate partners. There's her choice. And that choice is respected. If a woman decides to invite one man today and another tomorrow, it doesn't become grounds for scandal or conflict between the men. They're not rivals competing to possess the woman. They're simply men who've earned her attention. No one asks, "Who were you with last night?" They ask, "Are you okay? Are you happy?" This level of acceptance seems almost unbelievable to us, shaped by patriarchal norms. But for the Mosuo, it's normal. Here, they don't seek exclusivity in relationships. They seek acceptance of the moment. And what about men in this system? They, as already mentioned, bear responsibility for their mother's household. It's the woman's brothers who play the key role in her life and in the lives of those born in her house. In our world, a father is someone who feeds, protects, passes on the family name, raises children. Among the Mosuo, the role of protecting and raising younger family members falls to brothers and uncles. They're the ones who teach, care for, and ensure safety. The biological father may maintain warm relationships with his offspring, visit them, give gifts, but he has no authority over them and bears no daily obligations. The main men in their lives are the men of their maternal household. This system looks paradoxical to an outside observer. A man spends the night with a woman, and they may have children together, but his main life and responsibility remain in his mother's house. His sisters and their offspring, that's his family in the full sense of the word. This creates incredible stability for the woman and her lineage. The house and property never leave the family through the male line. They always stay with the women. This way of life is living proof that society can exist and thrive without marriage as we understand it, and without the central role of man as head of household. Against the backdrop of the rest of Asia, where patriarchy, veneration of male ancestors, and strict marriage customs are the norm, Moso society looks like an amazing, stunning contrast. China, a country with thousands of years of male dominance, harbors within itself this small community where women aren't just equal to men, they're at the head of everything. This challenges all our ideas about social roles and family ties. This is a world where a woman's freedom in choosing partners and managing her life isn't seen as something revolutionary or dangerous, but is an ancient, established tradition. In Asia, many seek a worthy husband. Among the Moso, they seek a worthy mother's house. However, this unique way of life is under serious pressure today. Modern China, with its rigid state policies and the influence of globalization, is gradually penetrating the secluded villages by Lugu Lake. Young people leave for cities seeking work and education, where they encounter completely different norms and values. Tourism, while bringing money, simultaneously washes away ancient customs, sometimes turning them into exotic commodities for visitors. The Chinese government tries to standardize society, and traditional ways of life that don't fit accepted frameworks may be seen as anomalies.
Gradually, bit by bit, the ancient freedom and uniqueness of the Moso people are beginning to fade away. Will this world where women are masters of their own destiny and bodies withstand the onslaught of external forces? Will the tradition of walking marriages survive in the age of internet and mass culture? These questions hang in the air over Lugu Lake. While we in the wider world debate equality, gender roles, and relationship freedom, the Moso people have lived for centuries embodying principles we only talk about. Their world is a reminder that other forms of human community are possible, other ways of building family and intimacy. But what's ultimately more important, preserving unique ancient freedom in its pure form, or adapting to a changing world at the cost of losing part of yourself? Perhaps, looking at the fading traditions of the Moso people, we should think not only about them, but about ourselves, about what we value in relationships, in family, in freedom, and about whether we're ready to fight for what makes us who we are.